Here's our wall cloud once again, and it certainly looks pretty ominous out there. Just haven't quite got the tornado down to the ground. Let's hope it stays up in there, but the circulation is certainly in the mid-levels, showing up very clearly on our radars here. And boy, that's getting pretty close. It might be trying to do a little bit of a funnel right in there as we speak. Whether or not that goes down to the ground remains to be seen, but now you're starting to see the rotation and what appears to be a funnel developing with the storm. And there it is. It is certainly trying to come down. As soon as we get past this tree and this house here, we'll have a better look at it, but it's really trying hard to do it. Look at that, right in there. You are just about to see a tornado touch the ground here, and there it is. There's debris. Look at that, coming right out of there, fanning out. You can see it up in the air there. So we do have a tornado touchdown, and it looks like this is, well, just south of Oxford. Is that correct, Rebecca?
Yeah, it is just west of Hills, north of Kelowna, almost due north of Kelowna near Highway 1.
And there it is, folks. I mean, look at that roping out right in there. There it is. We are just north of Kelowna. I want to stress to you, if you're down there in Johnson County, this is a dangerous storm, a confirmed tornado. You're seeing it right there on the ground. Watch for the power flashes when it comes over here. We'll see if we get one. Might have gotten through there without any. Didn't see any. But there is debris. You can see that crossing right over the road there. What road is that, Rebecca?
Highway 1.
That is Highway 1?
That is Highway 1.
Okay. Amazing sight there. Actual tornado, live tornado right now in eastern Iowa in Johnson County, southwest of Iowa City. Nick, let's hear what you got to say about this thing. That's a pretty amazing sight. You're right on the tail of it.
This is condensating very rapidly, Terry. This is definitely a pretty decent tornado. It's got really quick rotation. You were watching it live right here on CBS2. Trees were getting ripped out of the ground at the base of this tornado. This is very rapid rotation right now, very close to Kelowna. This is northwest of Kelowna. Rebecca, if you haven't already, if you can pass along to the NWS chat that we have a tornado on the ground. We're now in the RFD, the rear flank downdraft of this tornado. Look at that. They got horizontal suction vortices in that. That is a strong tornado right now. We are going right here. Strong tornado right now. This is west of Hills, southwest of Iowa City. This is heading towards you, Iowa City. Iowa City, you need to take shelter now. This is a confirmed damaging tornado heading in your direction, and you are watching it live here.
All right, Rebecca, let's go back to the radar here. If we can split screen this, obviously we don't want to take off the tornado, so let's keep that up there if at all possible. And I'm sure you're going to get that taken care of. But I do want to try to pinpoint precisely where the tornado is on the ground. Rebecca, if you can get in a little bit closer on it. It looks like it's really close to Sharon Center there. I think you're up in this region right in here. That's where we've got our circulation. And so very close to Sharon Center right now, moving off to the northeast. And this will be approaching Iowa City. Can we get a little bit off to the northeast and show where Iowa City is located in there? There you go. There's Iowa City right in there. So there's Sharon Center where our tornado is very close to, and that'll be going up into Johnson County right in here. There's Interstate 80, storm moving northeast about 35 miles, a confirmed damaging tornado on the ground now in Johnson County. It's probably been down for at least a minute, minute and a half, and it does look like it has expanded in size, and it continues to move off northeast, and at the track that it is going, it will be moving into the southern part of Iowa City. If you're in Iowa City, this is definitely the time to take shelter. The storm is producing a damaging tornado and will be approaching the southern part of the Iowa City metro area here in the next few minutes. Now is the time to take shelter. This is the real deal. Can we go back to our polygon too, if possible here, Rebecca? I want to show people where our warning is currently located. And there it is right in there. So you can see here's Iowa City, and that extends down towards Hills. Looks like the actual tornado, which is located right in there, is going to move northeast and approach Iowa City. Can we go to the CC, the correlation coefficient now? We'll be able to see if we can get some actual debris showing up there, a debris drop. And that would be in this part of the storm right over in here. So it does look like what the radar is trying to show here is that there is some debris being picked up in the air, and it's going to show a higher return than it would otherwise. And so that's where we can see some of the debris that's being tossed into the air. But look at the live tornado there, which is now moving through Johnson County on its way towards Iowa City. Very intense circulation, a healthy tornado, good stovepipe there, heading northeast at about 35 miles per hour and very tight rotation. This thing looks really healthy. Nick continues to track it out there in the Road Warrior. And going back to our radar there's Sharon Center, which is where the tornado is close to. It appears that it has not hit Sharon Center, but moving to the northeast, it is going to go very close to Iowa City. So let's kind of punch this back this way a little bit so we can see where the storm is actually going to approach here. And there is where Iowa City is, and there is where the tornado is. Like, can we do a little measurement there, Rebecca? Actually, mileage-wise?
Yes.
Yeah, and we're going to see how far away that is from actual downtown Iowa City. Probably less than 8 to 9 miles from Iowa City, and a fairly large tornado now on the ground. This is a dangerous storm. I cannot stress enough, if you're in the Iowa City metro area, this tornado is approaching you, and it is a large enough one that it will produce significant damage and perhaps even injuries if you are not taking proper precautions. So you need to get to your safe place, particularly the basement if at all possible. Storm now looking like it's maybe perhaps an eighth, maybe even a quarter of a mile wide. That's a healthy looking tornado there, a dangerous one to say the least. Can't stress enough, if you're in the Iowa City, Johnson County area, you definitely need to take shelter as an intense tornado continues to advance towards you. It is growing wider now. I am guessing that's at least a quarter mile wide, and we've got very intense, strong rotation associated with it. And right in there is where the tornado would be located. There you can see hills. There you can see Iowa City. Let's go in just a little bit closer if you could on that, Rebecca, and kind of push it back that way because this is where it's going. So anything up in here is under the gun. This is a dangerous place to be right now. There's Melrose Avenue right in there. There's Highway 1 coming into the south side of Iowa City, the airport located right in this region here. Probably some hail falling in this part of the storm here, but there's the intense circulation. And as you can see in the live picture here behind me, that is the tornado that is on the ground. Going in closer, look at that. You can actually see the debris that's being tossed around it. So this is picking up trees right now. Fortunately, it's out in an open field, but you can actually watch the trees being picked into the air and flown around. Same thing, any sort of cars, homes, anything that's in the path of that violent circulation there is going to be torn up, which is why we're telling you it's a dangerous scenario and you need to take shelter. And look at the structure on that storm. That is really, really intense.
It has just been getting bigger and bigger, and we're seeing that signal still in velocity. I mean, it's not weakening anytime soon there either. And this is just to the north of the town of Sharon Center, and this is east of Highway 1 and near Sharon Center Road Southwest. And this is just to the southeast of Iowa City. That is the next city in the path here. And if it goes on this path, it continues this way, it's going across Sharon Center Road, and then it would get close to Highway 218. That'd be the next road right there, Terry.
I'm just absolutely amazed at the sights we're seeing here. This is a live picture. If you're just joining us now, a tornado warning is in effect for Johnson County. This tornado is on the ground. Not too far southwest of Iowa City, probably about 5 or 6 miles away. It's been on the ground now, I'm guessing for close to 8 or 10 minutes, moving in a northeasterly direction, and at least up to this point hasn't shown any signs yet of weakening. At some point, these things usually do cycle a little bit, and sometimes they can ebb and flow and go back up into the clouds and then even come back down. But right now, this one is on the ground, and it is producing damage, and it now looks to be a multiple vortex tornado there. You can actually see within the storm itself, little fingers rotating around it. And Nick is back on it now, and here's his latest observation. Looks like multiple vortexes there, Nick.
Yeah, Terry, this is incredible. This is a multi-vortex wide tornado. You can see the entire mesocyclone on this tornado rotating. This is very quickly approaching Iowa City. This is the loudest tornado I've ever heard. It had an incredible roar to it. This is a strong, strong tornado as it's beginning to look like it's lifting right now, but you can still see there are still some vortices on the ground. Again, right now we are looking just off to our northwest. Thankfully, very rural areas, but it is quickly right now approaching Iowa City. You can still see suction vortices are on the ground. This is incredible rotation with this storm right now. Again, this is a few miles southwest of Iowa City, heading in that direction. We're hoping this thing lifts permanently. It looks like it's weakening a little bit, but there's still very strong rotation with it. I gotta tell you, the Sheriff County deputies passed us up here. They're up on that road. They are very close to that tornado right now. But again, this is southwest of Iowa City, fairly rural areas. This is likely right along Highway 1 right now between Iowa City and Kelowna.
And as we mentioned, these storms do tend to cycle. And that doesn't mean that it's completely done producing a tornado, but right now it appears that most of it has gone back up into the actual wall cloud. But we still have very tight, hard rotation there, indicating this storm is certainly capable of producing another one. And it's very possible, as these things do develop and cycle like this one, that another tornado will touch down here very shortly. And you can just watch the spin in the actual circulation there. But we are at least pleased to say right now, it appears the tornado has gone back up, but could easily come back down. So don't let your guard down. If you're in Iowa City, a dangerous storm continues to approach you from the south and west.
This is just in between Sharon Center Road and Highway 1 is where Nick is looking at right now.
And we're quite sure that the tornado has done some damage, but it's been out in rural areas, so hopefully nothing has been hit in terms of structures or homes or anything like that. But we did see the debris flying up into the air. And once again on our radar here, that is where we have what's known as a couplet. And we have an opposing wind field here. One is red. You can see that. Here's your blue. So you got your inbounds and outbounds. And right in there where those come together, that's where your actual tornado is located. And it continues to move northeast. And here is Iowa City. There's Melrose Avenue there. And there's Highway 1 coming in from the west-southwest there, and there is 218. Let's go down to some street level mapping too, and we'll be able to show you just how close this is to Iowa City and where we're specifically. There you can see 218 that runs from Coralville there onto the west side of Iowa City, and that is where the circulation is that has been producing the tornado. So this is getting real close. What would you say now, 3 miles? From Iowa City?
Yeah, probably just about 3 or 4 miles.
Okay, there it is right there.
Closer to 6 miles. I mean,
that's downtown Iowa City.
That's downtown, so you're getting into
serious population
Mormon
right
Trek
there.
right there, about 3 miles away.
Right, and you can see the funnel is very close to the ground. Might not be touching right now, but still an intense circulation associated with the storm moving northeast towards Iowa City. And hopefully we can keep this thing up in the sky here as it approaches the southwestern part of Iowa City in the next 5 to 10 minutes.
I will say, Terry, I'm going to back up this velocity here, this rotation. You can see where we are seeing some weakening happen. But like you said, these storms do tend to cycle. So we're definitely seeing some improvement in terms of weakening with that storm. And the rotation that Nick's getting right there, it's not as intense as it was just a little bit ago. So they have extended now the tornado warning to the northeast into Cedar and Muscatine counties until 7:45. So, of course, still includes Johnson County.
All right, let's go back to Nick Stewart, who's chasing the storm in our Road Warrior live now just to the west-southwest of Iowa City.
Hey, Terry, we are southwest of Iowa City. It's very hard to make out in the rain. We kind of got some rain between us and the tornado right now, so the contrast isn't as great. But I will tell you that you can definitely still see the rain band. It's a little bit easier to see in person than it is on this video screen right now. The rain bands under that large wall cloud, they continue to rotate rapidly. So it's either very close to the ground, if not on the ground right now, still approaching Iowa City. This is an extreme situation. We have a lot of tornado warnings that may not verify. This is one you were watching live this entire time. It is approaching Iowa City. And again, at times, I would almost use the word violent. The roar on this tornado was absolutely significant. And we're getting the new alerts on our phone from the new tornado warning you were just talking about. But again, still a low-hanging wall cloud, definitely a funnel with it as well. I cannot tell for certain if it's on the ground, but if you've been watching us for the last 10, 15 minutes, you know for a fact it can do it at any moment. So if you're in Iowa City, Coralville, even North Liberty, maybe as far as North Liberty, this is a strong tornado-producing storm approaching your area right now.
And just looking at the actual radar right now here, I'm thinking this is definitely going to pass to the south of Coralville. The storm itself here looks like it's going to come right up to the east-northeast and come right towards downtown Iowa City. And it's this part of the storm, right in here, where you're actually looking at the rotation and the potential for the tornado. But with Nick's picture, it does not appear the tornado is on the ground anymore. But the wall cloud is certainly still there. We're still seeing rotation, and we're not done with this storm just yet, that is for sure. But it does appear, at least on the velocity mode, that it has weakened some during the past 5 minutes or so. We had a much stronger signature back towards New Sharon, and now the actual signature not nearly as intense. And if you want to just kind of toggle back and forth on that, we can show people what we're talking about here.
So I'm just going to back this up to
Sharon Center, that's
about
yeah.
6:45 there, and you can see the blues and the reds,
right
really
in there.
intense circulation, and then now we're starting to see some greens and reds. So that's
Right.
just showing the weakening of that.
The blue is no
velocity.
longer in there. That's
Yes.
the thing we wanted to show you. However, there's still a couplet there, and there is still obvious rotation. And as you can see in our live picture from the Road Warrior, we still have the wall cloud, but it is not nearly as close to the ground as it was earlier, and not producing a tornado at this time. But it has produced damage, was on the ground, I'm guessing, for close to 8 or 10 minutes as it moved through portions of Johnson County. But at least now, getting closer to Iowa City does not look nearly as ominous on the live pictures from the Road Warrior as it did a little bit earlier. If I can talk to Nick again, I wouldn't mind doing that. Nick, just wanted your interpretation of the rotation.
He's seeing some damage right now there. A tree down.
There you can see a tree has been knocked over the road. Nick, tell us what you're seeing right there.
Yeah, right now we are just maybe 2-3 miles southwest of Iowa City right now. Again, this is debris that definitely came from this tornado crossing the road here. I can tell you during this area, it didn't appear visually to be on the ground, but as you can clearly see, it definitely was. There's definitely debris still on the road. We're going to see if we can navigate around some of this. We're not entirely sure yet, but there's definitely a lot of tree damage. I can see a building right behind these trees has some roof damage. It does appear that it did narrowly miss these two homes here southwest of Iowa City. We're about a mile south of Highway 1 on Sharon Center Road Southwest. So again, there is definitely some tree damage out here, but not seeing any structural damage at the time.
Are you going to be able to advance forward there, Nick? Can you get around it?
We're going to investigate that right now. We're actually, our photojournalist Scott Zimda is helping us kind of remove some of the trees here. We're going to see if we can be able to get moving here. Again, the main reason we're doing this is to try and get everybody early warning of what's going on here. And
right.
Hopefully we were able to do that for Iowa City.
Also, to those of you in the booth, if you want to look at the Highway 218, Highway 1 camera, I know the DOT is tracking the storm too, so we might be able to get a visual there if you want to try and pull that up. That would be great.
And since we can't actually see the tornado right now visually anymore, at least the wall cloud, I want to go back to the radar here. We'll keep the split screen up so you can see what's going on with our crew out there. But the actual circulation has really weakened considerably.